What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. I hope you brought your brown pants, because boy, are you going to need them. Mark Carney has not only put out his plan for spending, should he become Prime Minister of Canada in the next federal election, but the numbers are insurmountably bad. We all knew this was going to happen. The purpose of this video again today is to show you just how bad it's going to get. Again, I've been trying my best to convince you all that now is the time to get out and vote. I have so many viewers in the past, not saying present, but in the past, who have said, I don't understand the point of voting. I don't think my vote matters. I don't think it carries any weight. I'm not going to waste my time. This is the most important election of our generation. We've said that a million times on this channel. Other platforms have said the same thing. The reason for that is when you look at Mark Carney's spending and his budget that's coming up, that's going to run massive deficits. If you thought Justin Trudeau was bad, buckle up. It gets even worse. Now, I want to show this video just for context. Let's put out a little video here with Mark Carney, because this is how he's trying to pull the blind over your eyes. Or the blindfold. He's trying to convince you that Donald Trump bad, Mark Carney good. This whole election has been made about Trump, while avoiding the issue of the fact that Mark Carney is going to run massive deficits and further cripple this country past what it can afford. This is part of the thing that I think is causing the surge in polls at the early voting polls is that people, again, I have said, are voting this time around with their wallets. They're not voting based on woke ideologies. They're not voting on DEI. They're not voting on carbon taxes or environment. They're voting for what they can afford. And a lot of people can't afford the Liberals. Look at this hypocritical statement from Mark Carney, because we're going to get into what's been brought out on his platform. And why everyone here should be scared if this man takes the Prime Minister's seat in less than 2 weeks.
I have a simple rule: spend less, invest more. Let's say you buy a home. The down payment and the mortgage cost a lot up front, but your home builds value over time. That's an investment. Now, you still have other bills like heat and electricity. You need them, but they don't make you better off in the long run. Those are operational expenses. I will balance our operational budget.
So I'm going to stop it right there, because I'm sure the music's already going to get me flagged for copyright. In fact, if you're watching this video and there is no music, that means YouTube flagged it and we took it out. The most hypocritical thing here is he says, spend less, invest more. He talks to you about buying a home. Who the hell can afford a home in this day and age? While my wife and I just did a move ourselves, we wouldn't have been able to had we have not been in the housing market prior. I don't know how anybody can afford a home in today's market. But Mark Carney comes in, hey, everybody, elbows up. I've got your best interest at heart. I know what I'm doing. No, he doesn't, because even mainstream shill prostitute CTV, let's go over to that article, comes out to talk about his new platform. How it promises $130 billion in new spending and deficits until 2029. Do we really need more deficits in this country? And you've got morons lining up to vote for this guy in Southern Ontario because they think somehow this is going to benefit Canada. Do you remember Liz Truss during Trump's inauguration stating, please don't vote this man into Canada. He destroyed the Bank of England. He's going to destroy Canada. Let's take a look at this. Mark Carney's plan for Canada includes $130 billion in new spending, which could see the country run deficits till at least the fiscal year of 2028-2029. Entitled Unite, Secure, Protect, and Build, the platform also commits more than $18 billion of spending on national defense, putting Canada on track to exceed our NATO target by the year 2030, according to policy experts who briefed reporters. Put those expenditures include new submarines and additional icebreakers for the Royal Canadian Navy, and the purchase of Canadian-made airborne early warning and control aircraft. The billions in new spending over the next 4 years to support promises outlined in the platform would see the Liberals increase Canada's deficit from a baseline outlined by Canada's Parliamentary Budget Officer. The PBO's baseline indicated a deficit for this fiscal year of $46.8 billion, equal to 1.47% of Canada's GDP. The PBO baseline also showed the deficit of GDP ratio would drop to 1% next year and stay under the mark for at least the next 2 years. Under the new Liberal government, that would no longer be the case. Here's the 4-year deficit breakdown. 2025 to 26, $62 billion. 26 to 27, $59 billion. 27 to 28, $54 billion. 28 to 29, another $47 billion. I mean, how are we doing this? This guy's a banker. Wouldn't you think he knows what he's doing as a banker? Now, let's take a look at the Canadian Taxpayer Federation, which, again, I've told people, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe to every Canadian political content creator on this platform. Canadian Taxpayer Federation is another great channel you should be following. Take a look at what they've uncovered, what they're talking about.
Carney's budget plan is worse than Trudeau's. Look, I didn't even think it was possible, but Mark Carney, Liberal Party leader, just released his platform, and he wants to borrow billions of dollars more than Trudeau. Okay, Carney has zero plan to balance the budget. His plan is more debt, more money wasted on interest charges. So Carney wants to borrow almost $100 billion than Trudeau over the next 4 years, okay? This is a disaster. Now, let me just read you Carney's deficit numbers over the next 4 years. 2025, Carney's deficit, $62 billion. 2026, Carney's deficit, $60 billion. 2027, $55 billion. And in 2028, $48 billion, folks. That is absolutely gross. Now, you add up those 4 years, Carney wants to add $225 billion to the debt. For comparison, in Trudeau's last budget document, over those 4 years, he wanted to add $131 billion to the debt.
So what is basically being outlined here by the Canadian Taxpayer Federation is that Mark Carney is adding another $70 billion than Trudeau. This will cripple Canada. Everybody already knows this. Viewers of the channel already know this. But for comparison's sake, let's go and take a look at this. Combined debt of all Canadian prime ministers since 1867, $630 billion. The debt from 2016 to 2022 for Justin Trudeau is $660 billion. What do you think 2 terms of Mark Carney would look like? 1 term of Mark Carney would look like? Do you think, again, when we go to the budgets, when we go to the Liberals saying the budgets will balance themselves by a certain date, you guys remember Crystia Freeland resigning from the Liberal Party because of how much over the guardrail the budget had gone? Do you think that's going to happen with Mark Carney? Absolutely it will. $200 billion would be the tip of the iceberg, I have a feeling, when it comes to his plan to invest more, spend less. How do you do that when you're racking up $200 billion in debt against our GDP? Canadians can't afford another Liberal in office. We cannot afford another Liberal Prime Minister. Make sure to share this video out amongst your social networks. Share out Canadian Taxpayer Federation video. Everybody needs to know, even Liberal voters, what Mark Carney is planning to do to this country financially. And all those who support Mark Carney can tell me what they plan to do when they lose their homes, when they lose their jobs, when they lose all of their savings that are now worthless because Mark Carney has bankrupted this country. This is a scary time we live in. And again, I would encourage everyone, get out and vote. If you're voting in the early polls, if you're voting on election day, make sure you do your due diligence as a Canadian. Get out and vote. We need a massive turnout in this election. It is the most important election of our generation. It needs to be too big to rig. We cannot allow Mark Carney a sit in Parliament or we're done. Not only has Danielle Smith threatened a national unity crisis for Alberta, but I fear most level-headed, common-sense provinces will probably start threatening the same. I don't see how anybody can afford to live like this. This man wants to steal every dime we have. Let me know what you guys think down below. in the comments. If it's your first time here, again, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure to like, comment, and share the video out. It helps us astronomically, folks. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. It helps the channel more than you know. Click your bell for all notifications so that you don't miss a beat when new content drops on not only this channel, but again, every channel you follow. Join me live for Friday Night Fringe, our weekly live streaming show, where I sit down with the beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we talk about everything that's happened this week in politics, everything we know that's coming up ahead, as well as back and forth within the greatest YouTube community on this entire platform. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say outside of making these videos, but I most importantly look forward to hearing what you have to say this Friday night, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.